Columbus Crew 2021 MLS Season Preview. The reigning champions, MLS Cup champions, Columbus Crew. What will they do in 2021? Will they repeat? Will they not? We're going to talk about the upcoming season for the Columbus Crew right here on Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. I am Mike Guillaume, your host. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button down below and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss any of our awesome American soccer content. First things first, let's talk about last season. Champions, MLS Cup champions, Columbus Crew. What a run they had in the playoffs. 41 points for third in the Eastern Conference. And then a run through the playoffs that was just absolutely magical. Everybody stepping up to the plate. We'll talk more about that and what they need to do again this season to repeat this. And wow, just a great season from Columbus. Good consistency throughout the regular season. Even better execution in the playoffs. First things first, let's talk about offseason, in and out. The players that came in, the players that went out, and I'll tell you something. Your president, Tim Bezbatchenko, did not leave one leaf unturned here in the offseason. He went after it. He is bringing in players, making signings. They're spending money, getting ready to open up that new stadium. A great offseason so far for the Columbus Crew. Speaking of which, that stadium looks absolutely amazing. Can't wait to see it. Based out of Chicago, Illinois, I may have to take a road trip over to Columbus and check it out once things get going and fans are allowed in the building. Players in so far, we have Evan Bush, the goalkeeper, a very solid backup goalkeeper. Evan Bush has been a starter for a long time in MLS. Bradley Wright Phillips, Kevin Molino, both free agent signings. Eric Dick in the re-entry draft. Isaiah Parente, homegrown player. Marlon Hairston as another free agent. And then just recently, Alexandru Matan, the transfer from FC Vitriol. A great list of players that were brought in. Now for the players out, Andrew Tarbell, Fatai Alashe, Emmanuel Boateng, Yunus Mokhtar, Jordan Hamilton, Christian Nemeth, all had their options declined. Hector Jimenez out of contract. Fernando Adi is out of contract as well. John Kempen traded to DC United. Chris Cadden transferred to Hibernian FC. And Sebastian Berhalter loaned to Austin FC, the expansion side. So there's your players in and your players out. Great players in. They're absolutely amazing signings for this team. I can't wait to see what Bradley Wright Phillips is going to do off the bench. He's not the same guy he was a few years ago with the Red Bulls, and even had a good season last year for LAFC. I think he's trending down. He's getting up there in age, but man, what a piece to have behind Gyasi Zardes, behind some of the other striking options the Crew have available to him. Kevin Molino, what a pickup. This guy is a solid MLS player. Man, Alex Matan, what is a lot of big things being said about this kid. He was being recruited heavily by New York City. Columbus Crew beats him to the punch, gets the signing done. Really excited about those players in. Now players out, Tarbell, Alashe. I mean, yeah, they're MLS guys, but not huge losses. These guys were not contributing a ton to the team last season. Mokhtar, Jordan Hamilton, Christian Nemeth, just not pieces that were really doing a lot for Columbus last season. So not big losses, at least in my opinion. Sebastian Berhalter going to Austin FC. Maybe it's better. He'll get some minutes there with the expansion team, more than they can give him in Columbus. So overall, a great offseason so far. Players in and players out for the Crew. All right, designated player review. Lucas Zelarayan. This man is amazing. What an acquisition he was last season from Tigres. I was not high on him. I didn't think he was going to do much. I had watched him play for Tigres in the Champions League and wasn't too sold on him. But obviously I didn't scout the guy like Tim Bezbatchenko does, which, by the way, I absolutely loved Tim Bezbatchenko. As you see my Blue Jays hat here, I am a TFC guy. That is my team. I do cover everything in MLS, all American soccer, as well as Canadian soccer, a little bit of Mexico, all CONCACAF, really. But man, oh man, I just love Lucas Zelarayan after watching him this season in MLS. A great signing. He proved me completely wrong. And wow, 16 appearances, 6 goals, and 4 assists. Then in the postseason, 4 games, 2 goals, and 5 assists. The man had an amazing postseason. Absolutely clutch. A huge signing and one of the best players in MLS, in all of MLS. period. Definitely going to be in the conversation for league MVP this season, and really could have been league MVP last season. If it was a full season, maybe he would have been. Gyasi Zardes as well, the second designated player, 21 appearances last season, 12 goals and 4 assists. Gyasi Zardes just continues to produce in MLS. He did have a little bit of a rough spell there at the end of his Galaxy time, but that was because they were playing him out of position. Ever since he's come to Columbus, he has played extremely well and has been worthy of that designated player spot. Postseason, 2 goals and 1 assist. So overall, 14 goals and 5 assists in the season if you count both the regular season and the postseason. Gyasi Zardes, a very good designated player for the Crew. Lastly, the last of the 3 designated players, Pedro Santos, 22 appearances, 6 goals and 8 assists. Then in the playoffs, 3 appearances, 2 goals and 0 assists. This was his best season by far in a Columbus Crew uniform. He's been there for now, I think, 2 to 3 seasons. Very good player, and he showed it. He finally kind of broke out last season. I know in the preseason last year, a lot of people were saying, well, if he doesn't have a good season this year, it's time to let him go. It's time to really put up or shut up, and he did that this past season with a great year, and I expect him to do it again. I think having Zelarayan there in the middle, distributing the ball to him on the wings, definitely helped a lot for him, and it probably helps a lot for every player. But Pedro Santos definitely reaping the rewards there, and every single one of these guys stepped up last season, and that is what you need to be successful in MLS, and hopefully they can do it again. I don't see why they can't. I think they will. When you have all of your designated players working well together, creating results, that's what happens. You win silverware, and Columbus proved that last season. So a very nice set of 3, Lucas Zelarayan, Gyasi Zardes, and Pedro Santos, the designated players for the Columbus Crew. Let's talk a little bit about MLS Cup odds. The odds for the Crew to repeat as MLS Cup champions comes in at plus 900. Not the best odds in the world, not number 1. They're not favored to win at all, but they are definitely right up there in the top 5. And some good odds if you think about it. This team could repeat. The very, very solid team as far as that roster goes, and that I can see definitely happening. So plus 900 wouldn't be a bad bet, in my opinion. All right, now before we get into our breakout youngsters and a little bit further in the show, make sure you stay tuned for the end of the show. I will be giving you my predictions on how I think the season will play out for the Crew in 2021. Before we get there, guys, check out that little join button right down below next to the subscribe button. Hit that join button and check it out. We are offering memberships now to Sons of a Pitch, an American soccer podcast. $1.99 a month for the starter level, and then designated player level comes in at $4.99 a month. Some awesome perks to help support the show and be part of our unbelievable soccer community. We're going to put your name on all live stream events down on the scroll on the bottom. So that's live podcast episodes, because I do record them live, as well the live stream reaction. So when we do a game come regular season for MLS, we'll be doing at least 1 game a week as a live stream reaction for any MLS teams. Doesn't necessarily have to be a certain team, but can't wait for that. Check out the join option. It helps us grow the sport of soccer here in the United States. Anything you can contribute is a huge help to us, and you get some perks for part of it and joining the best community in American soccer right here on Sons of a Pitch. All right, breakout youngsters. This part of the show, we always need some help with Reddit, because being a national podcast, I don't know all of the up-and-coming players in all 27 MLS teams. So at that point, go to Reddit, try and get a feel, and thank you to everybody on the Reddit, r/the massive subreddit. Absolutely amazing response there. And so out of those responses, I took 2 guys to put on this list. Number 1, Abubakar Keita, 20-year-old center back, still a depth piece right now. Not going to come in and start on day 1 at 20 years old for an MLS Cup champion side. However, he could end up getting some minutes. Mensah is getting a little bit older. Wormgur is a little bit older as well. So you could see Keita slide in to that center back role there as a depth piece and pick up some minutes this season. He was with the first team last year. I think we'll see him playing more. And he's the future. According to Reddit, he is the future of the center of defense for the Crew. He's got to start getting some minutes and start to break out and They all seem to think, and I now seem to think, that Abubakar Keita will be that guy to break out this season. The second one on the list, he was on our list last year. Didn't quite break out. He's kind of on that borderline. Did he break out? Did he not break out? Aiden Morris. Kind of broke out last season. He did play an MLS Cup final. Had an unbelievable MLS Cup final. The youngest player to ever start in an MLS Cup and provide an assist. A great player. I mean, he started to break out last season. That's why I think a lot of people on Reddit were like, well, do you really put a guy who played an MLS Cup as a breakout youngster this year? He kind of already broke out. People already know his name. Well, I think he needs to be in this list because he really didn't shine in the regular season. Didn't get a ton of playing time in the regular season. And I think this year he will get more time as being one of those first options off of the bench. So expecting big things out of Abubakar Keita and Aiden Morris this season as our breakout youngsters. Time to talk about head coach Caleb Porter. One of the best coaches in all of MLS. The man has crushed Columbus Crew fans' hearts, and he has made them elated with joy. Caleb Porter, former head coach of the Portland Timbers, came to MAPFRE Stadium and beat the Crew in the 2015 MLS Cup Final. And then he joined the Crew as coach just a couple seasons ago. And what a move it was. Caleb Porter, one of the better talents in MLS as far as coaches go. And did he ever mold this team together perfectly? Now, did he walk into a great job? Absolutely he did. Greg Berhalter, now the coach of the U.S. men's national team, had put together a pretty solid team there in Columbus. Once Tim Bezbatchenko came along, as well as Caleb Porter, they really molded this team into a championship contender. And that they were last season as your MLS Cup champions. Caleb Porter, a great coach. Very lucky to have him as the coach. Now let's talk a little bit about what Caleb Porter will put on the field through a projected starting 11. This one, I think we're going to see a 4-2-3-1 formation. And for me, goalie is Eloy Room, no question about it. Then you've got Valenzuela, Wormgore, Mensah, and Affle across the back. Nagbe and Artur are going to be kind of your back defense, central defensive midfielder types. Pedro Santos and Molino on the wings with Zelarayan sitting in that number 10 pulling the strings with Jossie Zardes up front. That is how I see the lineup, the top choice lineup for Caleb Porter and the Columbus Crew. Very, very strong lineup, and your reigning MLS Cup champions. Can't say it enough. The team really pulled it together well last season and just dominated Seattle Sounders in that MLS Cup final. So that's the starting 11 that I would put out if I was head coach Caleb Porter starting out the season, which, again, first game of the season, we got a little bit of early action for Columbus Crew fans into the Champions League based off that victory in MLS Cup. And they're going to be playing Thursday, April 8th versus Real Esteli in Nicaragua is the first leg there for the CCL. How do you fancy CCL chances for the Crew this season? We'll be talking more about the CONCACAF Champions League preview in a few weeks, so make sure you stay tuned for that one. And a good chance, really, hit that subscribe button, turn on that notification bell so you don't miss any time we upload a video and upload that CONCACAF Champions League preview. Not to mention I'm doing every single other team of the MLS team previews, so you'll be well-versed on the competition for the Crew in the 2021 season. So, most important player. Lots of great talent on this squad. It's kind of hard to pick a most important player in this team. For me, though, I'm going Lucas Zelarayan. The amount that he came, what he did when he came into this side really took them over the top. They were a very good team, but once he was signed in from Tigres, the pedigree, the type of player that he was, really put this team over the top. So for me, I think he's got to do it again, and he's the most important player. If he does well, the team is going to do well. If he has a bad year, it's not going to bode well for the rest of the team with him distributing as much as he does. That'll make a down year for Zardes, be a down year for the wingers as well. And so for me, I've got Lucas Zelarayan as your most important player for the 2021 upcoming season. Now, the time we've all been waiting for, the predictions, the ceiling and the floor. So I've got your best case scenario. I've got your worst case scenario. This one is pretty simple. Coming off the season that they did last year and the amount of talent that they've brought in through those players' ins and outs, like Evan Bush to back up Eloy Room, Bradley Wright-Phillips, Kevin Molino, Matan, the amount of talent they've brought in and the amount of talent that they haven't lost, a ceiling for this team very easily is first overall, champions again, winning the East, just tearing it up and winning MLS Cup final for the second year in a row. Now, it's extremely, extremely hard to repeat. I know that, but again, we'll put out the full predictions come the beginning of the season in the MLS Cup or the MLS Season Preview. That'll be launched just a few days before opening kick. But as far as a ceiling, first place for the Crew. For a floor, I've got them as a 5th seed in the Eastern Conference, and that's everything going wrong. A lot of injuries, things like that, even based with the depth they have. I see them as a high-seeded playoff team and possibly could, if all goes bad, being 5th in the Eastern Conference, This team is absolutely stacked. As if I haven't made that clear already throughout this entire video, I have now. A very exciting year for the Columbus Crew fans. Not only do you have the reigning champions who have gotten better in the offseason with an unbelievable front office. Oh yeah, you're moving into that beautiful brand new stadium this season. Cannot wait to see what the Columbus Crew Stadium looks like when they open it up. Hopefully we'll be at that point where we can let fans into the building, 100% capacity. That would be amazing. And we'll see. Can't wait for this season to get going. Again, my name is Mike Uyomi, your host, Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. Hope you enjoyed the preview for the Columbus Crew. Let me know down in the comments what you think, how this year is going to go for the Crew. Talk to me. Do you agree with my predictions? Do you agree with my takes on the designated players, the most important player? Let me know in the chat and join the conversation here with Sons of a Pitch Soccer Podcast. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys soon.